Assalamualaikum. Today we want to tell you all about Shexner's petrol engine. Firstly, I want to intro my group member and myself. Introduction about Shexner's petrol engine. A piston is a component of engine, pump, gas compress, and pneumatic cylinders. Among other similar mechanisms, it is moving component that is combined by a cylinder and is made gastric by piston ring. In an engine, its purpose is to transfer force from expand gas into cylinder to connect road. In a pump, the function is a reverse and force is transferred from the shaft to the piston for purpose of compress or inject the fluid into the cylinder. In some engines, the piston also acts as a valve by the covering and uncovering port in the cylinder wall.
Suchness petrol engines. These suchness petrol engines with transmissions are proven to be one of the most useful demonstration aids used in an automotive class. The complete engines and transmissions has been carefully sectioned to expose all of the internal operational details. All major parts has been sectioned, including the engine's block, transmissions, alternator, distributor, carburetor, starter motor, water pump, thermostat, oil filter, fuel pump, and others. Based on the suchness petrol engines, a fully suchness four-cylinder petrol engine showing the working of an internal combustion engine. Exposed components include cylinders, pistons, cylinders head and valve, cooling system, oil system, and alternator. The components are colors coded detailing engine's oil pressure, exhaust gases, air inductions, and fuel system. Petrol engines. First, connecting root. It is a link between the pistons and crankshaft. The function is to transmit force from the pistons to the crankshaft. Reciprocating motion is converted into circular motions of crankshaft. The special care is to be taken while designing the crankshaft, as it is subjected to alternatively compressive and tensile stresses as well as bending stresses. A connecting root is made of special steel alloy or aluminum alloy. Next is crankshaft. Crankshaft is the back of an engine. It consists of one or more eccentric portions called cranks. The parts of the cranks to which bigger end of the connecting rod is fitted with the help of crank pins. The crankshaft of an internal combustion engine receives via its cranks the effort supplied by the pistons to the connecting rods. The shape of the crankshaft in examples the material arrangement of cranks depends on the numbers and arrangement. Pistons. Pistons is the heart of an engine whose main function is to transmit the force centered by the burning of charge to connecting wood. A piston is fitted to each cylinder as a face to receive gas pressures and transmit the thrust to the connecting wood. Piston rings. Piston rings are housed in the circumferential grooves provided on the outer surface of the piston. Two sets of rings are used generally. The functions of upper rings is to provide airtight seal to prevent leakage of burnt gases into the lower piston. Similarly, the functions of closed rings is to provide effective seal to prevent leakage of the oil into the engine cylinders.
Cylinder. The cylinder contains gas under pressure and guides the piston. It is in direct contact with the product of combustion and it must be cooled. It is one of the most important parts of the engine in which the piston moves to and fro in order to develop power. Generally, the engine cylinder has to withstand a high pressure and temperature more than 2000 degrees Celsius. The cylinder is made of high-grade cast iron and is usually cast in one piece. Engines' body are designed of steel alloy or aluminum alloys. Cylinder head. Head is an arrangement with a covered cylinder bore and consists of suction and exhaust valve. Cylinder and cylinder head are made from the same material, usually cast as one piece. The main function of cylinder head is to seal the workings end of the cylinder and not to permit entry and exit of gas on covered head valve engines. Crankcase. It holds the cylinder and crankshaft of an engine. It also serves as a pump for the lubricating oil. Flywheel. A wheel mounted on the crankshaft whose function is to maintain its speed constant. It is done by storing excess energy during the power stroke, which is returned during other strokes. The weight of flywheel depends on the nature of variation of the pressure.
There are many types of maintenance we can prevent damage in section petrol engine. First, remove cylinder head assembly. Remove the air cleaner, rocker cover and rocker shaft assembly. Lift out the push rod and unscrew the cylinder head bolts. Second, lubrication system. Oil from the engine is drawn through a gas screen on the bottom of the pump pickup pipe and into the oil pump. Third, removing the oil pump. From the main oil gallery, oil passes through drilling to each main bearing and from the main bearings via further drilling to each big end bearing. Fourth, gearbox reading. Check the gearbox is operating within its manufacturer's specification of both mechanical and thermal reading. 5. Temperature. Look for signs of overheating, discolor or burnt exterior paint on drag oil in the side class. There are types of maintenance we can prevent damage in section petrol engine.
Hello everyone, my name is Pak Amanina binti Hazuki and I'm gonna talk about the working principle for our topic. So let's begin. Different torque or speed variations are obtained by engaging the gears on the main shaft using selector mechanism. So when the first gear is selected using the selector mechanism, the dog clutch shifts towards its left, engaging with the first gear. So the power induced transmit from the gearbox input shaft to the relay shaft first gear, and from there to the first gear on the main shaft, and finally to the gearbox output shaft. Since the diameter of the first gear is comparatively bigger, the speed of the engine reduced but torque is increased. In second gear, the dog clutch shifts to its right, engaging with the second gear on the main shaft, and thus another gear ratio is obtained with increase in speed and reduction in torque. So to achieve the third gear, the second dog clutch is shifted to its left in order to match with the third gear on the main shaft. In this condition, the speed increases further while torque is reduced. When the dog clutch is shifted to its right, fourth gear is achieved where speed increases then the third gear and torque is comparatively reduced. The fifth gear is achieved when the third dog clutch is shifted to its left in order to match with the fifth gear on the main shaft. In this position, higher speed is achieved, such as the speed of the clutch shaft is almost equal to the speed of the main shaft. In reverse position, the third dog clutch shifts towards its right to engage with the reverse gear that rotates in reverse direction using idler gear, and those reverse motion is transferred to the gearbox output shaft. So the motion obtained at the gearbox output shaft through different gearing arrangements is then transferred to the differential. From the differential, power is transmitted finally to both the road wheels according to the speed requirements.
As the conclusions, after watching this video, you come to know that petrol engines are about 30% efficient. In other words, 30% of energy generated by combustion is converted into useful rational energy at the output shaft of the engine, while the remainder being loses due to waste heat, friction, and engine accessories. The maximum amount of power generated by an engine is determined by the maximum amount of air ingested. Amount of power generated by piston engine is related to X size, volume of efficiency losses at the full ratio, the calorific value of fuel, oxygen content of the air, and speed. The speed is ultimately limited by materials, strength, and lubrications. Also, the thermal efficiency of petrol engine directly related to compression ratio.